So plastic electrical boxes versus metal electrical boxes. I just did a poll and you guys jumped in and over 2,000 you gave your feedback. And the question we asked is, which do you prefer? Do you prefer using plastic or metal? And 68% of the audience said they prefer using plastic. But when it comes to DIY electrical, you're most likely going to run across both types depending on the age of your home and where you're at in the United States or Canada. So let's use these simple outlet installations. The plastic one is actually wired correctly, and we do have an issue with the metal electrical box, which should help to highlight some of the things you need to consider to safely work on both plastic and metal boxes without any issues around your house. So from the poll, it seemed like most people were comfortable with plastic. I think they're comfortable because they're not worried about the hot conductor shorting out versus plastic because it's not going to conduct any electricity, so they're more comfortable with that. This is a standard new work box. You might be used to seeing the more common blue. This one was the most common by far for years and years and years, but there was some shortage in the supply chain, so you see more gray new work boxes available at your big box stores. And then that's going to be in contrast to something like this old work box, which is going to have the levers. You're going to cut out a hole, insert in your old work box, and then you'll go ahead and tighten these levers in the back, and then that's going to pinch the drywall, and that will hold that box into place. That's when you're modifying something after your wall covering's on, your drywall is on, you'd use old work compared to new work where you're installing those when you just have your framing up. One difference between this new work box, you can see there's basically no wire retention back there. It's just a little tab that you broke open, you ran the Romex through there. Should be noted, you're looking for 6 inches of wire, 2 conductors in your ground from the end of that sheathing, and at least 3 inches of that should be past the edge of the box. Now, if you look at your old work box, there is actually a lot better clamp or retention mechanism where you couldn't pull that Romex back out. So that is a much better design for this old work box. Now that does meet code, and although a negative for holding the Romex in, it makes it pretty darn easy to modify this box. Maybe you need to bring another line of Romex up and through. So we could easily do that if we were modifying it later on. We were inside the wall cavity. We put a fishing line down through there, and then we wanted to pull new Romex up and through. Makes it very easy to do that because there's really no retention of that Romex. And just know, if you are working with new work boxes, they will have tabs here on the side. Those tabs should be set against your stud. That's going to give you standard spacing for 1/2 inch wall covering so that your box is slightly under that surface once everything's installed. If you have thicker, you actually do have measurement lines here that you could reference. You would set this box to that depth, drive